Guess what? Ballots are coming this week. So when you watch this show, ballots are hitting the mailbox, as in going to the post office, July 14th. And then shortly after that, you'll start getting your ballot. And so let's talk about, candidates. Let's talk about, what I'm going to share today are candidates that have been recommended or endorsed by the Clark County Republican Party. And so let's start with John Braun. John Braun has been has been endorsed by the Clark County Republican Party. Now, the difference between endorsed and recommended is really nothing besides the verbiage. They've gone through the same process, same approval. It's just in nonpartisan races, recommended is kind of typical in nonpartisan, where if it's a partisan race, for example, like John Braun's in the Congressional 3rd District, then he receives the endorsement. But it's the same process, same thing. And the Clark County Republican Party has endorsed John Braun for Congressional 3rd District. And also in the Washington State Supreme Court, Dave Larson has been recommended, and that's position 5, I believe, for the Washington State Supreme Court. And sticking on state races, so then you have the 20th legislative district, where you have Peter Barno, you have Ed Orcott. Both of those have been endorsed by the Clark County Republican Party. And then as you move to the 18th legislative district, you have Stephanie McClintock in position 1 and John Lee in position 2. Both those candidates have been endorsed. And then legislative 17th district, where Dave Stevie has been endorsed by the Clark County Republican Party. And then 49th legislative district, Sarah Middleman has been endorsed. So those are the state representative and state candidates that are endorsed. And then you have the county. And the county is District 5. Is Peter Silliman, who's also a charter commissioner who sponsored, I believe it was 2 charter amendments, the performance audits and the budget, more transparency in the budget. Those are Peter Silliman's amendments that he sponsored and got over the finish line in the sense of advancing to the November ballot. So he is showing himself worthy for sure for Clark County and for conservatives, for Republicans, for people who don't want to keep paying higher taxes and want their government to work for them, not the other way around. So Peter Silliman is endorsed, recommended for the Clark County Council District 5. Then you have in District 2, Michelle Belcott is endorsed for the Clark County Republicans. And then you have Brian Scholl in District 1. So that's pretty exciting. And then the other county positions, you have auditor, you have clerk, you have assessor, and Peter Van Norwick for assessor, Scott Weber for clerk. Those two have recommendations for voters, as in going through the process and from the Republican Party, and then Eileen Quering O'Brien as auditor. So those are all of the candidates. I think I covered all of them that the Republicans have endorsed. And again, it used to be a different process, and the vetting process is, involves like a survey and an interview, and so it's a pretty significant process. And then the entire Republican Party, all the PCOs throughout Clark County, have voted on those county-wide positions, the statewide, such as the congressional district, and then the justice for candidate for Washington Supreme Court, and then the county candidates, Michelle Belcott, Scott Weber, Peter Van Norwick, Eileen Quering O'Brien. Those were all voted on generally, and Brian Scholl, and Peter Silliman. They were all voted by the county party overall. And then individual legislative districts like 18, 20th, and 49th, 17th, they all voted separately for their candidates. So your ballots are on the way. You need to know good candidates, and those are all good candidates worthy of your vote, in my opinion. And so I wanted to just kind of share that with you, start getting that information out, because guess what? The August 4th primary election day will be on us before you know it. So start digging in and start learning about these candidates, because your vote really does matter.